Okay, we're recording.
Great. So it is 7:05 and we will start this evening's Utility Commission meeting. We have a quorum of 5 people. So we will call the meeting to order, and I assume that you have all reviewed the minutes from our March meeting. So unless someone has any changes to it, can someone make a motion to approve them?
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Hiram made the motion and Bernie made the second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have Janae, are you approving the minutes as well? Did she hear me?
She's frozen.
Jill, Janae, sorry, you're Jill. Hi, welcome. We are just reviewing the minutes from last month.
Janae, can you unmute, please?
I don't think she's hearing us.
Frozen.
She's frozen, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good. Yeah.
Jill, if you don't have any issue with the minutes, we'd like to approve them. Yes, all in favor? Here, okay, the 5 people in the room have approved the minutes. Wonderful. Now, we have public comments next on the agenda, and Mr. Jeff Platt would like to speak. He'll have 2 minutes. Here's the floor. Welcome. Yeah, if you want, wherever, just put your microphone on green and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Jeff Platt, and I've been a resident of New Canaan for the last 22 years. First, I want to thank you to all the members of the Utilities Commissions for your service to New Canaan. Let me jump into my topic. I'd like to make a suggestion regarding improving cell phone service in our community. Given that cell phone coverage was a top issue in the townwide survey last year, I suggest conducting a more specific survey of New Canaan residents. The goal would be to better understand when, where, and how mobile devices are being used by residents and in what situations they run into connectivity issues. The insights from the surveys might suggest, 1, an opportunity for resident education of alternate solutions available now, for instance, Wi-Fi calling in the home, or making voice-only calls versus data-intensive calls like Zoom when on the move. Number 2, understanding perceptions by street or neighborhood to focus efforts for technical solutions that could have the greatest impact. 3, what the mix of iOS versus Android devices is, if this is helpful. 4, usage by carrier townwide and within neighborhoods. And finally, to create a baseline of resident perception of cell phone coverage. This could be measured again in the future to understand if the actions of this commission and the cell phone carriers has had a measurable impact on the quality of life in New Canaan. So in conclusion, I believe this survey, in conjunction with the drive-by survey, will give a more robust view of the current challenges and might provide a broader set of recommendations for this commission to propose. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak this evening? Okay, we will move along to item number 4, an update from our first selectman. Welcome. Thank you for coming this evening.
Timing is good. Okay. Can I get this little maze chairs? This does not want to move. Okay. There we go. Well, while I haven't been able to be here that often, I have watched all your meetings. So please know that I am following along with all the work that you're doing, and thank you all very much. I think your last meeting was quite late. Ran into Kareem in the in the hallway as I was at the last town council meeting. Unfortunately, I think most of your meetings are scheduled on the same night as town council meetings, and I have to be at those quite often. So, but thank you for having me here. Any of you that followed my campaign would know that this is a priority item. I might come at it a little differently than some of you on the committee do, but the town is watching everything that this committee does very carefully because it's a priority. So thank you all for stepping up. It's not an easy job. So I had the opportunity to see Krista and Rich at one of our last our Board of Selectmen meetings where we approved the UCLA funding. So we're excited about that. In fact, I've been at a few town meetings where with just residents, so different groups, and talked about the work that you're doing. So people are really interested in, this study taking place and, kind of really being able to evaluate where the coverage gaps are. It's timely that Jeff is here tonight because I think one of the things that we all have to be mindful of is that, and we saw it when we were looking at the cell tower at West School. There are strong opinions about cell towers in this community. And so, and I'm very respectful of those concerns. And so, as I said to Rich and to Sven, when they took over this committee, as I said, we, in addition to sort of looking at tower solutions as a result of whatever UCLA gives you, we also have to look at, are there other options and what individual residents can do to help their own cellular and wireless coverage is part of that solution. And we have to make residents aware of what they can do personally to help themselves. And I made that very clear to Rich and Sven that community education is a huge priority of this commission. We need to, there was a lot of misinformation being communicated in the last administration about, emergency services, lack of availability. And then if you really, I did a little research during the campaign, you have an iPhone 14 or higher, you can get emergency services through a text. Doesn't matter if you have coverage in that area or not. It'll either go to a satellite or it'll go to an alternate provider. People need to know that. It's a safety issue and people need to be aware. And I don't want sort of certain priorities getting in the way of getting people the information they need. I just want informed choices. Whatever the solution is, I want informed choices. So I'm really excited about this UCLA study. I think it will help, get people started on, knowing what we need to do as a community and figuring out what are the compromises we have to make. So, and are we willing to make those compromises? And if we're not, what are the costs to not having those compromises? So, I don't know if you have any questions for me. Thank you. And also, it's nice to see Rick Corkin here. I've actually had a town council member reach out to me, the whole, electrification and, obviously we have huge issues in this community with Eversource, consistent coverage of our electricity needs, and storms seem to be a big problem. So I'm from the Midwest, we didn't really have too many over air wires. Everything was underground, everything. And from the time I moved here, I really couldn't understand every time we did a new road or infrastructure project, why we weren't burying wires. They're unattractive. We lose power too often. Everybody said it's too expensive, but it wasn't a great answer. Other places seem to be able to do this. So I don't know. I don't know if you have any questions for me or.
No, that's great. I think that definitely helps inform us as we conduct the UCLA test, and then we'll roll out obviously the results to everyone. And I think that you're right. It's there. And we said that when we met with the Board of Selectmen that, our lens is data first and solution second. And, I'll just keep saying that over and over. We get the bumper stickers made, but it's like, just to have everyone take a deep breath. This is, kind of a new take on all of that. So I don't think anyone is looking, I won't speak for fellow commissioners, but I don't think we're looking to jump to solutions. We just want information. And part of what we'll discuss this evening are the coverage maps that we received from the Siting Council today that cluster all the carriers together and are not as helpful as I think we would want. So it just reassures us that we're doing the right thing
With
by
UCLA.
getting this study
Good.
and controlling this data ourselves. And in addition to understanding what today's coverage is, we also want to get an inventory of, Rich had mentioned that too, of, the hardware, the infrastructure that exists. So we'll compare that and contrast it to what even the Siting Council has listed. So,
Yeah, very
Right.
little on that.
yeah, they have very little on their
Yeah.
sheet. So I
Nine
think we
towers.
can only learn and benefit from
Great.
the study. So we're
Yeah.
really excited to do that. Hopefully, I think in June is when we will earmark that. And it shouldn't take very long. I think it only takes about 2 weeks to do,
Great.
so.
Great. Well, if we
Yeah.
can do anything to help you
Mhm.
get the word out, during the study time or anything, I do a monthly newsletter. We highlight different.
Yep.
Actually, in this next month, I'm mentioning and linking to your page on the town website, just so that people know that this study is coming, because I think it's an exciting thing for this community. So we can all, like you say, it's easier to have a conversation when everybody's working off the same information.
Yep.
So, and yeah, I'm super impressed by all of you. I mean, this is not my area of expertise, so I appreciate all of your expertise that you're lending to the town. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank
Any questions or no?
On to the next.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. But I'll watch the replay.
Very good, very good.
So keep your microphone.
Yes, exactly. All right. Jill, are we skipping the industry profile? Okay, so we're gonna, no, it's fine. We're gonna skip over the telecom industry profile. The individual was not available for this evening, but we will reschedule for a future meeting. Okay, so number 6, cell coverage maps from the Connecticut Siting Council. So Rich had reached out as chairman and on all of our behalf to the Siting Council January 26th of this year. And we were promised a coverage map mid-April, and lo and behold, April 18th, they did forward through a map that we will be posting all of this on the website, so it is available publicly for everyone. And they CC'd the Siting Council CC'd all of the individual contact rather at each of the individual carriers, Singular, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Dish. And, it's, I would say, a bit simplistic, and it does not break out the carriers. So we have gone back to them to ask if they can provide a map that does indeed break out the individual carriers. And also they have a small list of what I will call infrastructure. And we have asked if that is inclusive of all the infrastructure, or was this just a summary? So we want confirmation on all of that. So I throw that out to my fellow commissioners. If you have any commentary or other follow-up questions you'd like us to go back to them with. It's
I
not very
think-
detailed.
I think on the map, it looks exceptional. We should have an amazing reception.
Exactly. And even they say, just in a general way, to quote them, reliable coverage appears to exist throughout much of central New Canaan. However, there's unreliable coverage within the western, eastern, and northern parts of New Canaan. But I think we knew that already. So they're,
It's just what they have is 9 blue dots. What they have is 9 blue dots on there, 9 towers. There are smaller pieces of equipment around town. Yes, that's the sort of thing we're asking them.
Yeah,
if they have
it's
an
incomplete.
inventory.
Yeah. We need a better inventory.
exactly
And some of the towers aren't even in town.
right. But we are getting
Right, you get
a
coverage.
benefit from a few of those towers. One in Norwalk, 284 New Canaan Avenue, and then one in Stamford located at 5 High Ridge Road. Those are the two that were mentioned. So I think we will just start with this as a baseline of what the Siting Council has given us, and we can compare and contrast what we learned from Ookla to this map. And again, this will be posted online so that the public has access to it. We good?
Good.
Good, okay. So in terms of cell coverage for Ookla, as Deanna mentioned, Rich and I went before the Board of Selectmen a week or so ago to ask for approval of Ookla as a vendor and at the price and the estimate that we had. The Board of Selectmen unanimously approved that, which was very encouraging. And then the follow-up was that there were funds, the Board of Finance, I think, had to pull some funds from next year into this year, because we are basically essentially spending our entire Utilities Commission budget on this study, but we feel that it's that important that we do need to move forward with it. And we also had recommended doing the more detailed version of the software. There were two
Right.
formats. One was, I think, Pro and Wind, but we advocated to do the more detailed version of the data because if we are going to challenge the carriers, we want to have the best information that we can get. So we are doing the more detailed version of it, absolutely. So that will give us confidence as we move forward. So once that is approved, it goes through kind of Tiger's office, if you will, to get the mechanics going of that. We will reach out to Alex at Ookla to set a time frame. We had earmarked June just because we said all the leaves will be on the trees, but that could certainly shift a week earlier or later, depending on how the spring goes.
Weather dependent.
Yes, exactly. So that's it on that. So emergency communications, don't know who was meant to take this piece of it.
Actually, I'm sorry, before we go back,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
yes.
did you say when is it going, like it says the month of June?
We would have the test ideally happen in June.
Right.
It's only a 2-day test and we're told that like the whole process can take about 2 weeks
Right.
from them gathering the data to giving us an overview.
I was just thinking it to the extent that I think you were referencing sort of the where traffic and where anyway, doing it before school ends.
Yes.
Just because that's I mean, if somehow we're able to do that, just because that's a usage that is a majority of the year
Yep.
where there'll be decent leaf coverage, but school is what, June 14th or something like that?
Yes, I think that's an excellent point because that's when the heavy use is before town starts to clear out.
Would it be possible to know what type of technology we have access to process the data? Or just to get a sense of,
I think, isn't that a question for Alex at Ookla? Would he be able to provide that for us?
no, here
Or-
in the
oh,
city.
Here?
What
at
do we
Town
have?
Hall?
Yes, I mean, I can provide it, but I just want to know if you,
We can ask Tiger what's available.
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
useful.
why don't we do that?
Because if we get some student, like, do they have to provide their own machine or?
Right, we had talked about maybe engaging an intern, Janae. I don't know if you have any updates on that?
I do not have an official update, but yes, it sounds like it's very doable because it's just 2 students for 20 hours a week. So I think we can, I think we can do it. I need to get back with Marty with that information, but I think we can.
But what I would need, sorry. I
Yeah, so
would,
she's the AP computer science teacher and they learn Python. And so it sounds like a very feasible thing. So let me get with her with this data and find out exactly what she would suggest, but I think that's great.
and what is the technology available? That's it.
Right, out of town hall that those interns
Correct,
could
yeah.
utilize. Okay.
What do you need, Karine, like what level of, like, could a student use their laptop if it's a Mac or what do you use, what would you recommend?
Yeah, laptop is enough. Yeah, that's fine. It's just something that can run Python and we can slice the data. Ideally, a desktop would be better, but I will be able to do with whatever we have, right? So
Yeah.
I just need to understand what's available.
Okay. I'll follow up with Tiger on that. And I'll circle back with you as well, Janae, so we can.
Yeah,
kind of
perfect.
have-
Yeah, I'll get back with Marty with that info and we'll find out, but that shouldn't be an issue. So that's exciting. I think students are gonna be excited to help. So.
Yes,
Maybe something for later when we actually get the data, but the data is ours.
Yeah.
The contents are, I mean, it's a bunch of information, but is there an issue or something we have to think about just in terms of the security of
Yeah,
that data?
we need, so I need somebody also
How-
from the town hall. What are the constraints in terms of compliance and things like,
How we keep it secure
correct?
or whatever in control of whatever we need it
Because
to
we
be.
paid for that. So, I mean, the town paid for that. I don't want to be tampered.
Yeah.
So that's a very
I'm sure
good
there's a
question.
protocol.
Yeah,
that
thank
we
you
just
for
need-
asking.
Yeah, that we just need to follow.
excellent point. Okay.
And we need to make sure that it's backed up and all the good
Of
things.
course. Of course. Okay, we will get a technology update on all of that for our next meeting. Okay, so emergency communications, I fear that maybe Sven was gonna talk about that,
Yes.
right?
I think you're right.
He was meant
That was his-
originally to do that, and he is not here. So we will table that till next month. All right, great. So commissioners, would you like to speak about anything?
Yeah, as we've had the water company come through and talk about how they service the town, the electric company, the gas company, Rich had asked me if I'd reach out to Frontier Communications, an alternative, I guess, internet provider, like Optimum. So I did, and I spoke with a lady named Allison Ellis, who's a senior VP of business development. And she gave me a brief update on who they are. I'm not sure who knows the history of Frontier, but they did go through bankruptcy, came out the other side, and what was described to me was they shed $10 billion worth of debt. They created an entirely new board of directors and entirely new executive offices. So it's a whole new team unburdened by not having $10 billion worth of debt, and they are gung ho for wiring the town with fiber optic cable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
familiar with Frontier's history.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
I'm
But,
not
but-
going to get into it now, but I'm
Right.
familiar with their 20, 30-year history.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense because like I have the fiber where I am, so it's super useful because I can have a mini cell tower and get a very good reception, right? So it would be nice if we could also get a sort of a map of who can have access to the fiber. So for me, it was randomly that I noticed that I could get the fiber. I was in ADSL before and I just asked and they say, oh yeah, you have the fiber.
Yeah, well, I guess what will come out of this, we could talk about it a lot, but I would like to invite them, a couple of their representatives to come and address the committee. I gave them our meeting dates, the next 2 or 3 months. They suggested June 18th. It would be Allison would come and then a fellow named Joe Oresco, who's more on the technical side there, that would come and address us. And I offered or asked for them a little outline of what they could cover. So I'll try to circulate the outline, ask for comments to get it to them. So June 18th, I'd like to get them on the agenda to come and talk to us and tell us what they're doing.
Yeah, because like, I mean, from the survey, what you suggested, if people know that they can have fiber, they can also have their own mini tower and it will be super fast, right? So I think it's super important to get the same thing as a wireless map. We need to know like who can get the speed and what speed, right?
I asked them that in the call yesterday. For competitive reasons, they were a little bit reluctant to give you a map with all their network on it.
Okay.
But they gave me a contact link to give them my name and address, and they're going to reach back to me about hooking me up.
So can we ask them, because like I can automate this query and get you the map. So I don't know if it's legal. We should ask them, right?
When they're here on the 18th, we will. So that was I was asked to do it. I think they were very receptive and anxious. They told me they're in direct communication with the first selectman in Ridgefield, because Ridgefield wants to be 100% covered. And so we have somebody there we could be asking how they're doing and what kind of service they offer and how the rollout's going and that sort of thing. But if you get that, I guess they'll give you a modem and a router in your house. You can have Wi-Fi in your house. You'd have great internet access. They're offering 1 gig up and down,
Yeah.
which is not what Optimum offers. It offers faster down and less up. And then for TV and things like that everybody wants, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, and
process.
so for Wi-Fi call, the quality is super impressive. So of course, but I have a generator.
I have fiber, I have the fiber without.
and that's how I survived.
Can you talk into the microphone? I can't hear you, so.
Your microphone's not on.
I said, it's all fine and great as long as you have power, because
Yeah.
you have nothing if you have no power.
Well,
I will say my friend on Bayberry, they live on the Wi-Fi calling and they use it all day and my husband works from, anyway, they. have
That's
a
what
great-
I use. I work from home and I use it too, but if I don't have power, you don't have Wi-Fi calling,
Yeah.
so you have nothing.
I asked a bit about that in the
Mhm.
call yesterday with them. And at this point, I am an Optimum customer and it's a fiber line in the street, but from the street to me is the copper wire.
Mhm.
And that is susceptible to power outages. What I got told on, if you're
But-
fiber optic all the way to you, and that's what they told me they would do to me. I don't think, they said with power outages, you still should be in business.
You still need a router and a modem though.
I guess you're right on that one.
I do, yeah.
But you need a generator, right?
Well,
One thing that would also, it would be helpful for the citizen is to know what's the status of solar panel, because
Status what?
solar panel, right? Because that's something I use and like, it's very helpful, especially when there's the power is down with a battery, right? I have something that can be totally off the grid. So it would be good to inform people to,
Get
yeah.
that. Okay. Why does Ridgefield want to do 100% Frontier? Was there any
I haven't
backstory?
talked to Richfield
It would
about
be
it. Yeah.
interesting to know why, you know?
I will get
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But if that's, I don't know who puts the agenda together for the 18th, if that could be
We all
added
put
to
it
it.
together.
Okay, and I
We're doing
guess
it
we'd
now.
allocate them on, because I'd like to get back to them tomorrow.
Yes,
so they
yes, tell him, yes.
Tell them.
Yeah.
That's that. We'd offer them 45 minutes or something like that.
Whatever he thinks he needs.
It's she, but
She,
both of them.
yeah,
both.
yeah.
Fine,
Okay, great, for June 18th,
the June 18th.
Yep.
Utility Commission meeting.
great. Okay, anybody else have anything? Oh, you wanted to, yes.
I'll just to give an update. So for the past couple of months and with Rich and Sven's sort of direction, I've been in contact with town planner and with the POCD process, sort of the process that's going on with the town regarding sort of what the citizens view about what's important in terms of how the town's priorities on various factors, in terms of quality of life, that touches on infrastructure. And so the issues that are coming out of that are very similar to what we've all been talking about, resilience in certain areas that are important. And so that process is continuing and goes through for the next several months. Next month on the agenda, the town planner is going to come speak to it sort of about what they're doing, because I do think that when that process ends, which will be, again, sort of the voice of the community that will be presented to the town, which in some sense, the town officials will then take that as a guidance, and then we will take guidance from that as well in terms of priority, in terms of the areas that touch on utilities, again, which is renewables, it's resilience, it's capacity, it's those items. And so Sarah will speak to that next week. Again, I'll coordinate similar to what you were just describing in terms of an outline of what they're thinking about, talking what we think needs to be spoken about, feedback from the commission, and then that will be next month. So that's May 20 something or another. Yes.
Great, great, wonderful. Wonderful, thank you.
Yep.
Jill, anything? No? Janae, do you have any updates you'd like to share with us, or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay, and she did approve the minutes, she said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had to switch from my phone to my computer. That wasn't working.
That's
Um,
okay.
I guess one thing I did want to ask quickly, we had talked about what the computer science students doing as interns, and we talked about what perhaps the town would pay something. Where did we land on that? Is it just interns? So we're waiting for free time from these students?
Versus hiring someone.
Yeah, we're hiring the students at a low rate. I didn't know. We talked about both options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's really done anything with that, to be honest.
Okay. I just wanted, I'm asking for free time. I didn't know if I had another option.
A budget, yeah, I mean, we don't have a budget because we just spent it all on the Euclid study, so.
Okay.
um,
I think we can get two
But-
students to do it for the experience. I was just didn't know if we
Yeah.
needed to sweeten the pot at all. I was wondering.
Right, right. Yeah, I think it would have to be an unpaid internship at this moment in time.
Okay. Maybe over the summer, we think it'd probably be in the end of June or July.
I don't know how much.
We'll pay you with a Gelisimato.
welcome.
A little gelato.
That sounds fair. And we think the timing would be the end of June or July, probably.
Yeah.
Just the
Well, yeah, I
analyze the
mean, we're
data.
hoping to do the test, like we said, early June at the latest, because we want town to be very full and robust, right? And people on pickup lines at school and all that jazz. So even if it were that we receive the information, the data back by, let's call it end of June, mid to end of June, I would imagine there would be something to work with and digest before the 4th of July weekend. Yeah.
Gonna ask for the time at the end of June, beginning of July. Okay.
Yeah, and
That sound
once,
good, Chaim?
the estimate has once the estimate is officially signed, which I hope it has been, I will reach out to Alex, who is our, representative at UCLA too, depending on what jobs they're doing, but we'll give them a heads up.
It would be also good to know if we can have access to the website of the town and if we can do some things like for citizens that want to zoom around their area.
Once
We-
we have the data. and
Yeah,
that-
once we have the data and
Yeah,
things like,
yeah.
if you can have access to the website,
Yeah,
the town website, I could develop some interface, right?
okay, okay. And we had talked about that, making the maps as interactive as we could for the citizens. Okay. All right, well, that's all we have here on our agenda this evening. It's been short and sweet. As long as everyone feels like they've discussed what they needed to, we are good. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you all. We'll be in touch.
Thanks.
Boy, the school calendar is important.